Hi everyone, welcome to another little capsule of information. I'm Siri, and today I wanted to tell you about altars. Altars are such a topic for me. I really have been experiencing during years of like making altars at home, and I feel it's such a good topic because it allows you to explore your creativity related to the divine. And so I just want to share a little bit of what I have learned from different, traditions that I am enriched from. Kundalini yoga tradition, Sikh tradition, the path work, and also these two healer women, Selena Avila, which I have talked about before, and Luisa Tej, which is also incredible. And so some of the commonalities that I have found and doing altars at home are one is to have a representation of the elements of nature. So if you want to have for the earth to have rocks or like crystals, that would do. Then air would be it could be, in my case, I have feathers that I have collected from the ground in different places in the world. So I have my feather sort of group for air. And also like instruments could be part of air. Water, you can have like I offer the spirits a little cup of water every week. And so there is like literal water in my altar, but also I do have seashells and like elements that remind me like of the sea or the waters. And then fire, which usually is a candle, right? A white candle if you want to have that. And I'm gonna show you my altar today. It's a very private, but I thought it was gonna be sweet to just share a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about right now. So hold on, I'll show you. But yeah, so first element would be the four elements of nature. The other is the directions, to have the directions, right? This is like an important part of a lot of indigenous of the Americas traditions, is to pay homage to the directions. And so in the north we have the ancestral knowledge, the ancestors. I will show you what I have there, but some people actually put pictures of their family members that are for them like literal ancestors. So the north is the ancestral knowledge, and then we have the south, what I relate to like the inner child energy. People sometimes have like items that remind them of their childhood or pictures of them when they were little. I will show you also what I have. And so in the west we have the things that we want to let behind, like the energy of letting go. For that I have like stones that represent willpower, so that I have like the actual will to let those things go. And then in the east we have new beginnings, so things that we want to start anew. And there I have the seashells and stuff like to remind me of the water of change, transformation, so the new beginnings. With Elena Avila, I learned something that really stayed to me. It's something that I'm still digesting and I want to share with you as well, which is this idea of having balance in the elements, but also balance in the feminine and masculine energies, divine energies, right? So as a non-binary person, I have difficulties with that, but I honestly sit with myself and pray to see what it needs to be seen by me in this area, And what I came with was the realization that I have already learned, but like those things that you listen in until you really understand it, just really sinks in, is how much the ideas we have about God and the divine are completely infused with our ideas about authority and how we see our parents when we were little. I know, definitely. Like I really feel like that is such an important piece that we have to work on. And so how you felt authority when you were little, how your parents or the absence of them, right, exercise authority. This is how you're gonna project unconsciously the ways in which you see God, right? And so and of course this can, when you make it conscious, you can change, of course. But what I realized was that my altar didn't have any divine mother. And the reason why is that, well, my father, like my biological father, abandoned me and my mom. And so I had that like energy of the masculine there, because it's what I long for, to have this protective energy that I didn't have. And as it happens with the parent that is left, we are harder with that parent, because, you know, it's as unfair in our child consciousness, but that is pretty much what happens. And so we tend to like not see what the parent that is left did for us. Of course, now that I'm an adult, I see it, but I didn't have the representation of a divine mother in my altar because of that, and also because I didn't have emotional security at home, so I didn't feel nurtured and safe in that emotional sense, right? In many other ways I did. And so it has been hard for me to connect with the divine mother. And so one of the things that usually people have, like in my culture, like Latinx cultures, is like Guadalupe, the Virgin, or like Virgin Mary, you know, but I was having trouble with that. And so what I found, and I'm going to show you, it's a beautiful, beautiful representation of Archangel Raziel, which is in the form of like a sort of like a black women figure. And that also made me realize that obviously the representations of divinity that we have are completely political. It's not like random that all the angels we think are white, skinny, and tall, right? And so and they are beyond that. I mean, the entities as such, they don't have, of course, you know, any of those like limitations of the earth here and the physical body, but the way that we see them is completely infused by our categories, what we think it's like Western, basically, right? And so for me, I also want to invite you to think about the representations of God, or divinities or deities that you have, so that you can also think about that in yourself, right? So the elements, the 4 elements, the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and the directions. Those are like the 3 things I've learned. Also, like very basic to have like a white cloth, if you have, and then put it in the center the candle. And I will show you. So now is the time when I'm gonna show you my altar. So just hold on a second. Let's go. Okay, so this is my altar. So as I was telling you, a white cloth could be good, the center of the altar being the white candle. And so for the ancestors, I have the 10th guru from the Sikh tradition, Guru Gobind Singh, because it's been really important for me to connect with his energy, to define myself, to like come out of the submission and really empower. So, and then I also have this little creature, which is from a Miyazaki movie, but actually it's like my affiliation with more than like human and more than earth entities, which I also consider my ancestors. In the south, for the inner child, I have these little toys that for me are like sacred, you know. It's just like such a beautiful like exploration of the inner child and playfulness. And then in the letting go, the west, I have these stones that are for the willpower, as I was telling you, in order to have the strength to like let go. And then the new beginnings are here with the sea, represented by the sea, and like change and starting anew. And so for air, I have the feathers that I told you about. I have some instruments here as well. Always have fresh flowers if you can in your altar. And then the water that I was telling you, I offer to the spirits. I also offer them my favorite food, which is chocolate, so I put them always like an offering of food. And then, well, I have some other instruments here for my healing process, and the Psalm 23, which is very important to me and I recite every day. And here we have the Archangel Raziel, which I was telling you about. That's such a beautiful image. It really connects me with the divine feminine. And this is an important archangel of knowledge, you know, and healing. This book that they have here is just like the book of the world, and so it's really important. And then here the Archangel Jophiel, which is representative of inner beauty and also like a spiritual guide, literally. So I have this balance, right, of like masculine and feminine, and then I have here all my elements. I also have my drum that I use for healing. So that is my altar. So that's it. Thank you for staying and seeing what I have to share with you. I have the privilege to have an apartment for myself in which I can set up this altar, but if you don't have that privilege, you'll also remember that you can have like portable altars, you know, like just little elements that remind you of divinity. Nothing can sever your connection with divinity. So if you don't have the opportunity to do this, also creatively do it in a way that is safe for you. Also, if you have the privilege to have a big house and have like an outdoors altar, like also explore that, and that could be great too. So that is it. Altars are awesome, and I wanted to share this with you, so I hope it helps. Be well.